What's up, tribe? How you guys doing this evening? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is just a quick drop. Last night on Iyanla Van Zant, we saw Malorie Baliey, Cynthia Bailey's sister. If you watch Real Housewives of Potomac, you've seen her sister here and there. She's on a few episodes here and there. She's not a regular character. I don't even think she's a friend, or what they call a friend of the show. But we do know her as Cynthia Bailey's sister, which is part of the problem. We'll get to that in a second. So she went on Iyanla because she's going through a divorce. And Iyanla wasn't sure why she was there, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sure what her reason for going. I think she got a lot out of it in the end, but I don't know if she truly understood what her reasoning was to go. I think what she couldn't articulate, and again, I'm putting words in her mouth, this is my opinion, was to help her process past what she was going through. Because on one hand, she said she thought that her marriage could work if they worked through their issues. But then she said, but I don't want my marriage, and I filed for divorce. So I think she needed to just process through the pain. There's a lot of pain involved in divorce, and thank God I've never gone through it, but certainly it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there's a lot of pain in that. So here's the thing. Let's set the scene. Malorie Baliey, she was married to her husband. After they've only known each other for 2 months, they ran off to Vegas and had a quickie wedding. They got eloped. She already had a daughter who was 11 that he was fully engaged with as far as a stepfather. He fully took on that responsibility of a dad, and they've been married for, I want to say 12 years, I believe. 12 years. Well, at the beginning of the show, what we find out is that they are in the process of something. A separation, a divorce, something. What my baby do now? My baby down there. That's my nephew. He done something because he crying. He done something he wasn't supposed to do. Anyway, so we find out that she tells Iyanla that she hasn't heard from her husband in 6 months. Iyanla said, well, she said, are you in the, what's going on? She said, well, I haven't talked to my husband in 6 months. She said, what do you mean you haven't talked to him in 6 months? She said, well, for the exception of a few emails, he won't return my calls. He won't answer my calls. He will not communicate with me at all. And I'm just not sure what the status of our relationship is. Iyanla said, the status of y'all relationship is that it's over. I mean, anytime a husband can go 6 months without talking to his wife, I think it's a pretty safe assumption that that marriage is pretty much a wrap. So that's where we started. But where we ended up was somewhere totally different. But I think that everybody got some good stuff out of this situation. If you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, you know a lot. You know that Cynthia's mom was in an abusive relationship. They did a PSA last year on domestic violence, and her mom participated in it. So that much has been opened up to us if you watch Atlanta. If you don't, then this was new information. Also, I'm going to get back to that in a moment. So what we find out is that Malorie can be very controlling. She doesn't like to hear criticism. When she feels as though she's being criticized, she shuts down. She likes to be right. And she likes to be, I'm just looking at my notes, sorry y'all. She likes to be in a relationship, and she likes to be in a relationship with somebody that she feels can take care of her. Now, what I found interesting is that Iyanla talked to Cynthia and her mom separately from Malorie. And what's her mom and Cynthia both said is that she likes the idea of being in a relationship where she is being taken care of. And Iyanla, being who she is, said, okay, so she's a gold digger. Because that's what I mean, that's the definition of a gold digger, right? Somebody who is in a relationship because they're looking for something out of it. They're a gold digger. Later on, we see where Malorie and Cynthia are talking, and Cynthia sort of backs down a little bit when Malorie is like, well, wait a minute, I've dated guys that, didn't couldn't take care of me or didn't make a lot of money. She said, and, you know, I've always worked now. Certainly, you know, guys I've dated make more money than me, but I'm just not sitting back looking for Mr. Rich to come along and take care of me. But what I gather from it is that she liked being in a relationship. She always wanted to be married with children, and she liked being in a relationship, and she liked being in a situation where she was, quote unquote, being taken care of. And I don't know if that necessarily meant financially, or is it just a sense of comfort, because again, she came from an abusive relationship, watching her mom being abused. She came from a home where the abuse took place and her mother did not leave. Now, her mother eventually did leave, but for a long time her mother did not leave. And so what Iyanla was able to do was really forget about the whole husband, because again, that's a wrap. Your marriage is over. He clearly doesn't want to be in the marriage anymore. Now, whether he expressed it in the best way possible, probably not. Most people don't. But let's talk about the pathology. I know she liked that word pathology that got us here. And she had 3 generations of women and of the same family. And what she was able to gather is there was a pathology of abuse. Cynthia's mother was abused. She watched her mother be abused by her father. And so, of course, what lesson that gave her was, you stay. You know, the man is bringing home the bacon and taking care of the home. You stay. So that's what she grew up. She said her father was also a disciplinarian. So she ended up marrying, and she married young. She said that she was, I think, 17 when she got married. She married young. She said, I didn't even know that man. You're right. You probably didn't. And so what she did when he started abusing her was she stayed. So Cynthia and her sister grew up seeing that. And Cynthia took on the role because once her mother finally left the abusive husbands, I don't think her last husband was Cynthia's dad, but Cynthia's dad was abusive as well. Her mother then allowed Cynthia to take on the role as head of household. Cynthia was a model. Cynthia paid the bills. Cynthia took care of the family. Malorie was the younger sister. And she always lived in Cynthia's shadow, even before Cynthia became a famous model. She lived in Cynthia's shadow as being the little sister. You know, she said, because they're 18 years, they're 18 months apart. So that's not that big of a difference. So that means they were at school at the same time. And, you know, we found out that they shared a lot of the same friends. So a lot of Malorie's problem was that she felt like she was always in her sister's shadow, long before her sister became a supermodel and long before Real Housewives of Atlanta. But one of the biggest differences was once she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta, people recognized her. And so then it became, hey, you're Malorie, Cynthia's sister. And so something that she had always dealt with but was able to sort of live in the shadows was now in the forefront. Her daughter was honest. They talked to the daughter. She's 25. She seemed to be very honest and gave a very honest opinion of her mom. She didn't make everything out to be her stepfather's fault. She said, my mom is far from perfect. She said, but I think he just got tired of not feeling appreciated. Now, in the beginning, Malorie said that the father that the husband has cut off communication with both of them, and that she felt some kind of way because, you know, he basically is treating both of them like this. But the daughter didn't seem upset. I think him and the daughter are still talking. I think maybe they ain't telling the mama that they still talking, because she didn't sound upset, and she sounded like she totally understood why this man was no longer with her mom and didn't want to be with her mother. She said, you know, she's my mom and I love her, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, these are the things that probably led to the demise of the marriage. Okay, so the pathology, that what we got to the end of was that they need to talk, because like the daughter didn't know anything about the grandmother being abused. Like, that was something new. As far as the depth of the situation, her understanding why her mother felt the way her mother felt and the decisions that her mother made. I think we got clear that Malorie was not a gold digger. Malorie was a comfort seeker, right? She was looking for somebody to take care of her, not just materialistically. Yes, she liked the lifestyle, and she admitted that. But she also dated men who couldn't provide her that type of lifestyle, but could provide the comfort and the security of a lifestyle, right? But here's my question. It was a good episode. It wasn't no whole lot of cussing and screaming. I thought Malorie would be a little more difficult, but I think Malorie was ready to hear it. Sometimes people are hard and they put out this hard exterior, but I think she was ready to hear what Iyanla... She's one of the few people that I think showed up really ready for the work and really ready to hear what Iyanla had to say. A lot of times people go on the show knowing who she is, knowing the type of person she is, and then get mad when she starts pushing them and pressing them out to expose themselves. But I think Malorie was really ready. And Cynthia seemed open, and the mom, I think the mom got a little touchy for a while, but I think she ultimately came to it. Iyanla and the mom had an off-camera conversation that I think helped, because the mother, I think at one point felt like Iyanla was making it her fault. And what Iyanla was saying was it's not blame so much as it is, what's the word she used? It's not blame as it is, basically, I don't remember the word, but basically, I'm not blaming you so much as this just is what it is. Like, this is just what it is. And so I feel like I feel like we processed a lot. It was a really good episode, and I like the fact that we processed 3 generations of women, and of black women, and of strong, independent black women, right? I feel like we did a good job with that. I also like the fact that they didn't beat this man up. He wasn't there to defend himself, and every time Malorie started talking about him, Iyanla said, you. This is about you. This is not about him. You. And I like the fact that they kept it on her, that they didn't allow it to become a gripe session about all the horrible things he did as a husband. And it's not to say that he was perfect, because I'm sure he had some shit with him, but they kept it on Malorie and what Malorie was and wasn't doing. So I thought it was an excellent episode. I thought they did a really, really good job with it. The only thing I'm going to say is, with all this shit going on with Malorie's husband, she only knew him for 2 months and married him and all this other stuff. Y'all remember how much shit she was giving Cynthia about marrying Peter? Remember, to the point where they were going to hide the marriage license so they couldn't even get married? Y'all remember that? And Malorie was playing Miss Holier Than Thou. Her life, well, we always know when people act like their life is perfect, it ain't. But I'm just saying, playing so holier than thou and everything, like she couldn't understand why her sister wanted to marry this man. Now, granted, the relationship didn't work out, and granted, they did have their issues. However, you sitting over there in your shit. You know, her and Peter did know each other for a couple of years and had lived together, and yes, they had some problems and stuff, but who were you to be judge and jury when you got your own shit over here? Girl, that shocked me. That's the one thing that did shock me, because the way she was acting with Cynthia, I'm thinking, oh, okay, her situation over here is cool. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents, y'all. Did y'all watch it last night? What y'all think? Let me know. Peace.